welcome to another episode of NextGen AI. In this episode, we're going to talk with a real-life data scientist, Mr. Daniel Casillas from our partner, QLX Technologies. Daniel, say hi.
Thanks for having me, DJ. Hey, everyone. I'm glad to be here.
Great. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the art of possible, some deep learning use cases. This is just a quick introduction about what you can do with AI and certainly some of the benefits of IBM's AC922. All right, let's go on to the first use case. We're going to talk about banking industry use cases, of which Daniel has a very good idea. So Daniel, take us through some of these.
Right, so one of the most important use cases for deep learning in the banking industry is around fraud detection. That's been happening for a while already, but through the introduction of deep learning as a mainstream technology that's available for anyone with a GPU, all of these models have improved a lot, and it's, in my opinion, one of the most important use cases right now. There's also a lot happening on machine learning for trading. Different machine learning algorithms and deep learning frameworks are being used to try to not only predict but also support stock traders on their decisions while trading stocks. There's also work being done around the algorithmic trading side of things, deep learning being used to analyze how fundamental data affects the market in real time and all of its implications. So this is definitely one of the most important use cases for deep learning in general, banking and finance.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Daniel. Let's take a look at some other additional use cases. All right, the next use case we're going to take a look at comes from a company called Ep9. They are using drone images of transmission lines for power delivery to maintain those transmission lines throughout the country. So, Daniel, why don't you take us through this particular image and what they're doing here?
Sure. So this is an image classification use case where they're taking all of these images to detect whether there's an issue or not with the transmission line, and it seems to be highly effective. As you can see, the image right there is showing us how the algorithm is able to detect the error right here in this squares that you can see right there. So with that amount of pixels, the image taken from the drone is able to be processed. Something that's very good about this, and especially about our power architecture and the AC922 server, is that for this kind of use case, the better the resolution, the easier it could be to detect errors. Even though for most use cases you don't need that much resolution, this is a use case where having a higher resolution will be good. We'll talk about that when we get to a large model support part.
Great. So, from what I understand in this particular use case, that the accuracy was achieved with only 1,000 images, which is quite remarkable, right, Daniel? What do you think about that?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely remarkable. That's a great level of accuracy for such a small training set.
Okay. So images we've looked at are things such as good and bad damaged conductors. The next one, corroded connectors. Dampers damaged. All these types of images are examples of what these drones are looking for. Marker balls that are screwed up, misaligned insulators, and if none of these things make sense to you, it's okay. I have an electrical engineering degree and they still don't make sense to me. So with the accuracy of 97% with a Power AI vision model, that's pretty good with those 1,000 images. Wouldn't you say so, Daniel?
Absolutely.
Great, fantastic. Okay, let's take a look at a deep learning use case in the media and entertainment industry. And I really like this one, Daniel, because it's all about the movies, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so this is an interesting one. Hopefully the sound isn't playing, because that would be bad for our videos that are PG-13 rated. In this particular case, they were using a deep learning model, image classification model, to look for violence in movies. And this can be used not even for movies, but for live camera streams throughout town, if you even have that type of infrastructure. So, Daniel, what do you think? Anything you could add to shed some light on exactly how they did this?
Yeah, this is definitely a use case that's been important for casinos for a while already. The gaming industry has been doing that, but with different computer vision algorithms before. And also for smart cities, this is a very big thing. So I think this use case is great and will help us have safer cities.
Outstanding. Let's take a look at the next one. All right, this next use case, again, I sort of mentioned it the last time, or the last use case, we're looking at TV camera images and what we can do with those. So, Daniel, I know this is kind of an eye chart here, but what do you think?
So people counting has been done through deep learning models, mostly using convolutional neural networks. There have been some advancements using classification regression models to be able to predict how many people should be on an image. And this is definitely something that's getting traction and also a good use case for the large model support.
Okay, great. We're definitely going to take a look at large model support a little later. All right, I did want to throw these videos up here. These are pretty interesting. All right, Daniel, well, why don't you take us through what we're doing here? I think this is a very interesting looking image. What are we doing with this image?
Right, so here we have an already trained model that was trained on a server like the AC922, and it's running on an inferencing platform that in real time is getting the frames from the video feed and detecting features on the image, and these features are actually what compose each one of the persons. So it's detecting each one of the persons.
Okay, great. It's a very impressive looking use case for sure. To track these folks in real time. Here's another example. Here are some folks coming into, I think this is a train station or a subway, something. So just interesting to take a look at how it's able to look at all the different various features on a person and identify all of them for various applications.
Definitely.
So the sky's the limit here, folks, when it comes to any kind of image workload you may have. So that's a very, very good use case for all of this technology. And a great tool, of course, is AC922. All right, this next use case is a pretty interesting one, I think. And this is a use case we're using AIs in a retail space, probably more likely an online retail space, where AIs can detect various things about each product. Like, for instance, if it is an explicit adult content that shouldn't be on there, if it was some item that violates the terms of use that should not be sold on the platform, if the quality of the items being shown and the pictures aren't up to snuff with the retail platform, and other things like that. So you could see an eBay, an Amazon, other big stores using this type of an AI in their business. So another one that's pretty interesting. It could be very useful.
Definitely.
Cool. Okay, great. Let's take a look at safety and security with deep learning. So Daniel, I know that, again, another eye chart here. It looks like we have a whole bunch of drones on the screen.
Right.
What are they doing with those drones?
Right, so they're classifying in real time when a drone enters the airspace of a military base, as you can see on the top right image. I mean, that's another real-time classification network that's running on an inferencing platform. And as you said, the sky is the limit. There's so many use cases around the computer vision side of things that have been growing more and more and becoming more accurate as we have more data.
Sure.
That they're allowing us to do things that we thought were impossible 20 or 30 years ago.
And have more cameras all around everywhere, right? Camera.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one that we found from our friends at IBM. They mentioned that there's a whole bunch of microphones all around cities, modern cities, and they're able to use these microphones to triangulate interesting sounds, such as, unfortunately, gunshots. You know, that we all know that could be a problem. They'll be able to understand where in the city the gunshot probably originated, and therefore send a squad car or whatnot, send help. But it doesn't need to be gunshots. It could be lots of different things.
It could be lots of different things. It could even be audio feeds that have been around when a fight's about to start to happen, or when an emergency is going on, or when someone's having some sort of problem, right?
Yeah.
You can have all of those audio feeds and train the model to detect when something's wrong is happening, and you could send a preemptive patrol to go there. So, yes. As I said, for smart cities, there's a lot to be done on this realm right now.
Fantastic. And as many of you know, Columbus is a smart city, so you'll never know. Maybe we'll see this technology here in Columbus, Ohio. Let's take a look at the next. Hey, I think Shark Week's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well,
very soon.
What are we doing here with this here shark?
So again, this is a great use case because inferencing is happening in real time on the drone. So you have the drone flying over the bay, over the beach, over the area where sharks might appear, and through one of these embedded models, it is able to detect the sharks on the beach and send an alert, right?
That's right.
This kind of models are usually developed. I mean, they can be developed on TensorFlow, PyTorch, or Caffe, but Caffe is especially good at this, at running on compute constrained systems. So that's something that we also have on our Power AI platform.
Perfect. Now this one in particular, though, I think is really interesting because if you didn't do the inferencing on the drone, you'd be behind a few minutes, a few seconds, or a few shark attacks. So
right, and that's one of the things where IBM improved Caffe. So we have Caffe 2 with some IBM improvements to make it run faster on embedded systems and also to train faster on the platform itself.
Great, unbelievable, love it. All right, let's take a look at the next one. This is an interesting use case, and I think for all of corporate America would probably like this one. Detecting using CCTV cameras if folks are wearing their badges. Now here at MAPSYS and probably at QLX, we don't have many badges to wear, but the rest of corporate America, right, certainly do. So if this is a concern for you and your company, this might be a good use case for AI and AI models. So, any other thoughts?
It's very similar to the same use cases we've been seeing this far. Again, inferencing here is a very important part, making sure the models are running in real time and they're fast enough to pick up the frames from the video feeds and detect when something's off.
Okay, fantastic.
So, yeah.
All right, we're getting to the end here. We have about 2 use cases to look at left, and they're very near and dear to both Daniel and myself, with both of our companies working deeply in these 2 areas. And I think a lot of folks can really identify with this one particular healthcare use cases. In this particular case, we're taking a look at breast cancer, right, and using deep learning and AI imaging to take a look at possible cancerous lumps in breasts and other areas of the body. Hopefully, we cut down on that. Now that's very near and dear to all of our hearts, and. It's the same stuff I think that you've been talking about, this entire time, Daniel.
Right.
Same techniques, right?
Yes, it's one of the most widely known use cases for deep learning, specifically using convolutional neural networks to be able to get to a level of detail where you can detect whether a person has cancer or not. It's an extremely useful use case, and
hopefully it'll save lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One last bit on this particular one is in this particular case, we're looking at lung cancer detection. So not only large masses in the body, but small masses as well that can be extracted and looked at under a microscope or whatnot. So pretty neat. I'm glad that we have this technology going forward. Last use case we're going to talk about is manufacturing. Now, Daniel, there's obviously a million different ways you can use AI in manufacturing, and you and I are both working on several of those million ways with our customers. Right. With this particular one, I think is kind of a cute example. This particular one, right? We have it on the screen here. Yep, we do. Is something that's sort of near and dear to my heart from my early years, my younger years as an engineer, and that is detecting PCB board failures or corruption. So in this particular case, you can see parts of the board that weren't soldered correctly by a robot or by a person, and you can reject those parts right away without having to send them through an electrical tester, therefore saving time, cost, money, the whole thing. So, but again, probably the same methods that you've already explained.
Yeah, there are far more use cases that can be attacked with deep learning that don't have to be through computer vision, although those that are related to computer vision have been some of the ones that have grown the fastest in the past couple of years.
And the easiest to understand and probably deploy as well, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. All right. Very lastly here, not all use cases out there, folks, need to be this huge grand scheme of things type of pie in the sky idea, right? Exactly. This is a very easy use case here where they're simply counting pipes in and counting pipes out to see where those pipes are in whatever manufacturing process they're doing. So it doesn't have to be something hard, something earth-shattering, solving cancer, right?
Not at all.
It can be something very simple as counting pipes. So, and that takes us through to the end here, folks. There we go, the end. And we thank you for watching this video. Daniel here is going to stick around for another few videos here with me, and we're going to talk about lots of different topics. So if I were you, I would stick around as well. Daniel, anything to add before we call it a wrap?
See you soon. We're going to talk about large model support in a while. That's going to be very interesting, and that's a technology that will definitely make these models improve a lot. So stick around.
All right, great. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you.